David, we obviously took the difficult decision to part ways with Chris Beech and Nick Anderton over the weekend. Firstly, what was your reasoning behind the decision?
Well, it goes without saying that the results have been very poor. Lose 5 out of the first 8. I think that we started optimistically with a view that I would have thought we'd have won 5 out of the first 8. That was certainly our aim at the start of the season. But no, results ultimately we're in a results business, aren't we? That's what football's about, and you can keep hoping, but that things will turn around, and we all want things to turn around. The fans, me, the manager, and the players. But when they don't, then you've got to try and decide what's best ultimately for the club, and that's why I made the decisions.
Before we speak about sort of looking ahead and what the future looks like for FC Fylde, what were your thoughts on Chris Beech's achievements from last season and obviously the upturn in form that he created?
Yeah, look, Chris last year came in. I mean, as many of you know, he started as director of football. Him and Adam came for the same job, and we couldn't decide at the time. As I've said on a number of occasions, there was a fag paper between them. Really, we eventually went with Adam, and offered Chris the job of director of football, which he took. I think he would tell you himself, always wanted to be on the grass. I think it sort of was a role that, it was a pretty well paid role. Is a well paid role, so I'm sure that came into consideration, and also it kept him in football, and everybody wants to be in football, like yourself, Josh. It's hard to get in, and until you try a job, shall we say, a new position, you never know whether A, you're going to B, you're going to like it. So that's how we started with Chris, and then with Adam's departure, it was natural that we'd say to Chris, look, he knew the club, he knew the players, will you take over? And he took us from a very bad position to ultimately staying up with a certain amount of comfort, and for that we'll be eternally grateful, because getting out of National League North is really, really hard, and we didn't want to go straight back down again. So I think ultimately, we've a lot to thank Chris for, and on that subject, I want everyone to know, and I'm sure Chris will tell you, we left on really good terms. Yesterday, it's never an easy decision to make, and there's certain people that you work with throughout your life that you work with, and you have a sort of work relationship, and some maybe you get a little bit closer to, and Chris would be one who, he was a guy you go out for a drink with, a guy you could have a laugh with, and he was a little more special than some of the relationships I've had over the years. So it makes it more difficult. But I was glad that Chris, and Nick both took it like men, which they are men, and they were decent of how they handled matters, for which I was also grateful, because they don't always go well, these things. And as I said in the statement, I hope they both really do well.
Apart from the results, was there anything aside from that made you make this decision?
Yeah, there was. There was a number of factors leading up to Sunday's decision, and a lot of it was around we played the game. And I'm very clear of my vision of how I want this football club to play football. and wherever I've been since I've been involved with Fylde, and certainly in in the Charlie era, as I call it, when Di and I went anywhere in the country, we were always proud of the way our football team played the game, conducted themselves, and many a time, opposing chairman came up to us at the end of the game, which was hard for them, and say, "Wow, you've got a great team there. You've got a great team. You play fantastic football." And ultimately, I'm a fan like everybody else. And when I go to the game on Saturday, I look forward to it, and I want to see an entertaining game. I suppose I'm different than the average fan in so much that I'm paying the wages, and I suppose therefore probably a little bit more demanding in that respect. But Chris and I, we differed on that, on how we should play the game. I think often Chris would maybe, shall we say, maybe a little unfairly, he might think, if he will probably listen to this, is probably he would maybe agree that that's how we should play it, but shall we say didn't believe it really in his own heart, and wanted to play the way he wanted to play. And as I always say in life, it's if you want to do what you want to do, and someone's paying you, as long as you're successful doing the way you want to do it, that's okay. But when you're not successful doing it the way you want to do it, then it soon ends, always ends in tears, and as this did. So how we played football was important. I didn't feel that the players were enjoying themselves, and I suppose one of the things that was almost a nail in the coffin, I think the York City game was the final nail, but it was when I watched your video of the training. I think it was Thursday. You put it up on the website, and I think you went down to Calamar Park training, and I happened to watch it, and one thing that struck me, there wasn't one player smiling. There wasn't a smile on anyone's face, and when you're training, you need to be having a laugh. You're with your mates and you're having a bit of fun, and I want players to enjoy themselves. If you're not enjoying yourself, then that's not good. So that told me that they probably also didn't maybe buy into what was happening as well. So I think we played a lot of players out of position as well. That kind of was driving me a little crazy. Playing Hosanna left back at Yeovil, strange decision. Playing Joe right back. Yeah, of course we can say we've got injuries, but when you've got a good left back in the club, in Evans, I believe he's a good young lad, and I believe you play a left back, unless he's had a really bad game, and I don't think he's had a lot of bad games. In actual fact, I thought he's probably one of the better players this season. So there was that aspect as well, and also I felt that our three young players, Obi, although Obi's more experienced, but he's still young, Taylor O'Kane, and help me now,
Danny.
And Danny Ormrod, thank you, hadn't progressed this season. I felt they'd gone backwards. They were really, shaping up to be something special, I felt, from the club, and it's great when you can bring players through the ranks from the academy, which Chris Ganner did a great job there. As most people know, I turned down a bid of what would have been worth probably pretty close to 200,000 for Taylor a few weeks ago, and that's because I believed in Taylor, and I believed in the talent, and I didn't want to sell our best talent. I wanted to develop it. So the fact that he wasn't even getting a start, again, was to me, shall we say, a little bit mystifying. So and Danny was sort of in and out the side, so he again, in my opinion, has started to go backwards. So all those factors, it wasn't, of course, results ultimately is what it's about. But it's just a feel that you get, isn't it? It's a feel. Are we going in the right direction? Are we doing the right things? Are we helping our young players? Are the players playing the way they want to play? Are the crowd being entertained? We've a tough time at Fylde. We've a tough time to, if we get 1,200 on, we think that's a good gate. But so therefore it's really hard, and when you get some floaters, and when we played Yeovil Town, you get some floaters who come in because there's not a match at Blackpool, there's not a match at Preston or Fleetwood. Those are the people that might just come back and say, wow, I was entertained, because whatever you say, we're in the entertainment business, and that's what I want to do. I want people to come to Mill Farm and think, I paid a tenner or 20 quid, whatever it was, whether it was in hospitality or just having a pint with the lads in Bradley's, and feel that they got value for money and went on with a smile on the face. And I didn't think that was happening.
Of course, we have to look forward, and in terms of our next appointment, what is your plan of action, and what is it that you're looking for within the next person for the role?
Well, to follow up on what I said, I'm looking for a manager who knows how to play what I call play the game the right way. And the right way to me is Pep Guardiola, not Sean Dyche. Simple as that. There's two different styles of football. And you've got to do what you've got to do to, either stay in the Premiership or whatever. So maybe you as a manager, the team mirrors your thinking and your style of play. It should be. You bring in players like that. I'm not in that camp. I think there's some great examples out there of teams, not just City. Everyone said, City, of course City play fantastic. City, everyone's copied City because everyone realises that's the way to play, or most people have, shall we say. But in our league, I have great respect for Gateshead. I think I like Mike Williams. When he was a manager at Williamson, he was someone I had my eye on. Probably Gateshead supporters watching this would probably think that that was a bit arrogant, that I think he'd moved to us. But I certainly loved the way they played, and he's got the MK Johns job, and Elliot's taken over, and it's been seamless. Again, that's a good sign of a well-run football club, because it means that the style of play doesn't change when the manager changes. They still play the same way. Look, occasionally you're going to lose that time. Then they get hammered on Saturday night, 7-1. I mean, I don't know. He's being tipped for the Carlisle job. I haven't read the papers today. I've been so busy, or the news. So whether he's got the Carlisle job, I don't know. But he probably deserves it. So. And they're top of the league, or they were top of the league, but they'll be up there. So I have a great respect. I want to play football like that. That's my kind of football, and I believe that the manager I'm looking for, I want them to share those same values of how we approach things. So it's probably going to be a young manager. It's probably going to be young, up and coming, not necessarily. But it is, the old story, isn't it? It's hard to, teach an old dog new tricks. So, play out from the back, high press. We know how the game should be played, and it's having the confidence, number one, to play, and B, obviously having the players who can play that way, and three, coaching them, because all those things, especially playing out from the back, really you need to practice it really, really well. You have to be good at it, and it just doesn't come. That's a lot of time on the training ground, teaching your players how you want to play. So that's what I want. I'm pretty certain that's what the fans want to see as well, and so therefore, I mean, we've been inundated. I just spoke to Alex, director of football, before I came in here, and I think we're up to 36, 37 people have inquired from all different ones. Some what I call dinosaurs a little bit. Obviously, I'm not going to mention them. Others that have got a proven track record. Some in jobs, some not in jobs. But we'll narrow it down pretty quickly to who we think can play that kind of football, but also not just play that kind of football, but also win as well. I mean, you've got to be, as a coach, you've also got to know how to manage players. Yeah, coach is important, but also managing and understanding each player is important too. So yeah, that's our plan, and we although we're not going to rush into it, I know from some of the people that's approached us and some of the people we've thought about before the decision, because you're always thinking about, if I have to make this decision, who would we look at? So we sort of had our own short list anyway to start with. Some of those people have eliminated themselves already. I made a couple of phone calls yesterday. I was immediately disappointed because there was two people that I wanted to talk to and feel they both want to manage higher, so they weren't prepared to drop down. So a little disappointed in that respect, but I'm sure we'll find a great manager for the club, or a great coach for the club.
There was a great sense of optimism before the season started amongst all sections of the club. Just how important is it that the next appointment sort of rejuvenates that optimism, especially within the fan base?
Yeah, well, nobody wants to make a bad appointment, Josh. Nobody sets out, no matter whether you own Blackpool, they've had their troubles. Preston, they've had manager troubles. Both got rid of the manager before us this season, didn't they? Just down the road. Fleetwood have got different kind of problems. So nobody, I can assure you, nobody ever makes an appointment which they think is going to fail. Nobody. Everybody wants the manager they appoint to succeed. But I can tell you, it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard in football, and it doesn't matter whether you're Manchester United with all the money in the world and the greatest fan base, does not, as we all see, guarantee you success. Doesn't matter if you're Chelsea with more money than Man United, doesn't guarantee success, does it? So, organisation, structure, clear vision of what you want, like Brighton have, and you can achieve a lot with not a lot of money, as long as you're organised. So what we want to do is make sure we try and make the right choice. It's no guarantee. I want the fans to be proud to wear that Fylde shirt, just like I'm proud to wear that Fylde tie when I go in an away boardroom. I want them to enjoy coming to the game. I want them to have a smile on their face when they leave it. And you don't always you don't win every game. You can't win every game. But if you know that we've been out and played the best we can, and everyone's given 100%, that's okay for everybody. I know that. I've been a football fan all my life. That's all you want to see. Good example of that was in the Euros. I was there. I went to most games, and I came off, and we lost to Spain, as everybody knows. And I shook every Spanish supporters, fans, and I could find that night. And that's because I thought they were a great side, and we'd just been beaten by a better side. Sometimes you're just beaten by a better side, aren't you? And you have to hold your head up and just accept that. So that's what we want to do, and I'm grateful for all the fans. I thought they were fantastic at York on Saturday. Despite we were 3-0 down, they were still singing and not giving up, and that's what you want. As I've said lots and lots of times, a football club's nothing without its fans, and I don't take any of those fans for granted. None of them.
And just finally, you've kind of touched on my final question, but one thing that everyone around the club acknowledges on a regular basis is the impact that our supporters have on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, it's a big week with 3 home games. What's your sort of message to them?
Yeah, look, our fans have, they're not. I've said to managers, maybe I can answer it this way, but I've said to potential managers over the years that we've got a big advantage and a big disadvantage in our fan base. And the big advantage of our fan base being small compared to, let's say, not a massive club, say Stoke City or Burnley or somewhere like that. You've got, a solid, good fan base, or Blackpool down the road, 8,000 average. The advantage of that is that you get a little more time. You're not taking pelters in after 20 minutes, because some of the football crowds are cruel, aren't they? I mean, they're cruel, and if things aren't going well, the mood just changes, instantly. So you're under immediate pressure. Those clubs, you're under immediate pressure as a manager. Where if you come into Fylde, you're not getting that kind of pressure. You just won't get that kind of pressure from the fans, just because of the sheer lack of numbers that we have. So that's a real, shall we say, positive to allow someone to be given a chance to succeed, shall we say, backed by the crowd. Obviously, the negative side of that is that it's a small number, and it means that it's not as easy to create an atmosphere. The revenue is not great. It means I have to put more money into the club every week. But I knew that, we knew that going in. But the fans have a part to play, as they do at any club, and if they get behind, and particularly in the North Stand, they get singing and which they can do when they want and on the right day, then it makes such a difference. It makes a difference to everybody. It lifts everybody in the ground, doesn't it? It lifts the players, and I know they appreciate it, and they could. It was, again, just going back to Gateshead quickly, but I watched this 7-1 drop in. I just thought, I'll watch that. And their fans were also great. They're a bit like us, they haven't got a fan base, but I think the 70 or 80 they took down to Dagenham on Saturday, clapped them off the pitch, and that was fantastic. And that's what our fans are like. I was down at Forest Green, wasn't that, the other night, and with 40, 50 fans down there, and they always show their appreciation, and even though we've not had a great game. So fans are really important, and I hope we can reward them. We've had a tough few years from being at Wembley twice in a week, haven't we? But it's football. That's how it is. So I hope they all feel we've made the right decision. Reading some of the comments. On which we all do, be it on Twitter or on Facebook or wherever. I think the majority of people were supportive of decision and knew why we made it. So let's hope we can all get behind. We've got 3 big home games, as you say, starting tomorrow with with Southend, and let's hope we can have that magical change in manager 3 points. Let's wait and see.